everyone, and welcome to today's episode of M&A Empowerment. Today's guest is Ramey Sylvester. She is a partner at McLean Middleton. Welcome, Ramey. We're so excited to have you. If you could take a second to introduce yourself and describe your role in the M&A process.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for having me. So, like Kelsey said, my name is Ramey. I'm a partner or director at McLean Middleton. We're a full service firm in New Hampshire and Massachusetts. Our corporate department does a lot of M&A. It takes up a lot of what we do. So, my practice involves representing, as plainly as possible, buyers and sellers in the process of either buying or selling a business in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range up to the several hundreds of millions of dollar ranges. And then what that looks like, it might be a founder looking to retire. It might be a buyer looking to grow their business by acquiring other businesses. And what I do is I help do the whole process truly. It's beginning to end. I help with structuring the transaction, whether they're buying or selling stocks or assets. I help with negotiating the LOI or letter of intent. You're going to want to get those main points agreed to up front. I help quarterback the diligence process, where you kick the tires and look under the hood. And then, of course, prepare the transaction documents, the purchase agreement, what have you, and close the deal. So a lot of it involves, just helping manage the client. They'll probably only go through one of these in their lives. It's a very time-consuming process, and so it's definitely a lot of hand-holding, a lot of counseling, and helping folks avoid deal fatigue, which is a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We come across that all the time. I sometimes joke, that we really truly are like therapists to our clients as we go through that process. And not in a bad way, but for some people that's their whole life's work that they've been handed down or have been working through. So it's a big deal. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So if you could tell us, and I think it'll help the audience gauge this a little bit more, what's a recent professional success?
Absolutely. I've been thinking about that a lot recently, especially in the context of maybe the world and where we are, and just how things are changing very quickly, and kind of how we describe what success looks like. So certainly there's the work successes, right? So helping clients sell their businesses or acquire their businesses. And I mean, that truly is a success. But I guess what matters the most is that relationship, right? So a founder will have built this business from the ground up, right? His family might have taken out significant debt, mortgaged their homes, guaranteed this business to keep it afloat for years and years. And now they've created a wildly successful business. And it's so incredibly important that you help them get to a transaction and close a transaction that reflects what the heart and soul that they've put into it. And so some successes I'm thinking of is that family that I helped manage this sale process with this business that they just, like I said, built from the ground up. And, being on the closing call with them and looking at them as we're talking about, going across the room and everyone's saying they're ready to close, and then checking up in with them after, right? Seeing how's our things going, how are you managing the post-closing process? How are you managing transitioning from, every day being involved in this business to now taking a step away? So I think those are the successes that I am trying to, I guess I quantify it more in that relationship and seeing how people are able to successfully close a transaction, um, transition from being involved in the day to day, and then maybe taking a step away and exploring the next phase of their lives. I also recently turned 40, so I consider that a success. And one other success that's still in process is we're having an M&A conference. The McLean firm, we're sponsoring it along with the New Hampshire Society of CPAs. So Kelsey, I hope to see you there. It'll be at Jimmy's Jazz Club again in Portsmouth. And
Awesome.
we're pulling together a lot of great transaction advisors, investment bankers, CPAs, lawyers, folks all throughout New Hampshire and broader that are looking to come to the Granite State and network. We have some really great panels. There'll be food, fun. It'll be a really great time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a nice kind of well-rounded group of successes. Because yeah, I think sometimes people get wrapped up in like the specificity of, whether it's a specific transaction or whether it's, a just a career success, but there's so many different moving parts to it. So I think that's great. So lastly, what would you say to other women that are currently in the profession or might be looking to get into the M&A world? What kind of advice would you give them?
Sure. Two things. One, you have to seek out good mentors, advocates, collaborators, and advisors. So, of course, mentors. In the M&A field, you're going to learn everything from working with somebody, right? You're not going to be able to learn it by reading a book on doing M&A, right? You learn it by doing. So
Right.
you'll certainly need good mentors to learn from who will teach you and train you. Good advisors. M&A, and I'm sure it's the same with your practice, Kelsey, it's inherently collaborative. So you'll have a whole team of folks that are on the transaction, and some people might be working on the tax side, some might be dealing with a real estate issue or a trademark matter. And so having good advisors that you can rely on, that you can bring together to really just have a well-rounded team behind your client that's helping to get the deal done and do it successfully in a way that really matters. Advocates. Sometimes I say you need advocates against yourself. Imposter syndrome is real. So it's nice to sometimes have these advocates like me. I have my partners. I can go into their office. I can run ideas by them, throw things against the wall, see what really makes the most sense. But sometimes you really need someone just to talk to your own imposter syndrome and say, hey, you got this. You know how to do this. You know what you're doing. And then, of course, collaborators, right? Knowing great people like Kelsey, other people in the M&A field. You get work certainly from your referral associates, but also, the industries change, things change in the M&A world. So it's nice to be able to reach out to great collaborators and maybe get their input and see how they're dealing with a certain issue. And then the last, maybe most important thing, piece of advice I have, which took me a while to learn, is you must take care of yourself. Like the M&A process can be 24/7. We're all so accessible. We have phones, email on our phones, text, like you name it. And so it's very easy just to put your head down and just go 24/7. And of course, you're going to be the best advocate, lawyer, advisor you are when you are the best version of yourself. So, I know it might be tempting to just work nonstop, but, take a walk around the block, definitely get rest, eat well, do everything you can to take care of yourself. Because, of course, like I said, when you're most healthy, you're your best self, you can be the best advocate and counselor to your client.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. I completely agree on all fronts. I mean, taking care of yourself is one of the most important things that sometimes it's easy to lose. I mean, I always say I could work literally 24 hours a day if I wanted to, but that's not going to help
Yeah,
anybody.
absolutely not. And least of all yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, well, Rami, it's been wonderful to have you again, everyone. This is Rami Sylvester. She is a partner at McLean Middleton. Thank you so much for joining us, Rami, and we look forward to the next episode.
Sounds good. Thanks, Kelsey.